Hi everyone. In this particular lecture, okay, we are going to realize that we have finished the differential calculus part of this course. Now, that is a massive achievement. Why? Because differential calculus, massive part of this course. So we have covered a good chunk of it, and hopefully very successfully. Hopefully all your questions are answered. You are clear. You are ready to go. Okay, and to celebrate it, what we are going to do is we're just gonna differentiate one last function. Okay. I say last, but trust me, it's not the last one. It goes a long way. Okay, so let's just differentiate it together. Okay, dy on dx, 2x plus 6. Great job. If you cannot differentiate this, you should probably go watch the previous lectures, okay? But okay, easy function, nothing too complicated going on, right? Now to get to the actual point of this lecture is that so far, okay, what we have been doing is we have a function and we differentiate it, okay, and get this derivative. We differentiate to get to the derivative. Okay, let me just correct this up a little bit. Okay, and not necessarily with that notation only, we get dy dx. But the point is, we have a function, okay, and we find its derivative. That is what we have been doing so far very consistently, and finding new rules, blah 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 blah. We've been doing all of that. But what if I don't follow this path and I decide that I want to go the other way back? Okay, so what if I want to go from the derivative, okay, from the derivative to the function itself, okay? Or if I have this derivative here, I want to go from here to the function itself, okay, the function it came from. This process is called it's not called differentiation, it's called very originally anti-differentiation, okay, because you're undoing the differentiation. So this is called anti-differentiation. It is literally undoing the differentiation process. Okay, that is all you do through this process. Okay, and what if the function you are given, or the function you want to find the antiderivative of, is not a derivative function? Okay, then what do you call this? Because if you had a derivative, you just write it like that. Okay, what do you call it? How do you notate it? Well, you call it the antiderivative first of all, and you notate it in this manner. Okay, now this reads the antiderivative of f of x with respect to x. Okay, that is what this reads. Okay, this whole thing itself is called an integral. Okay, so you can also say that the antiderivative, okay, is the integral of f of x with respect to x. Okay, all right, so we got that done. All right, now we know what the notation is, we know what the process is. Okay, it's just literally undoing it. But I also want you to let you know that you already have every single tool that you need to hammer away at this. Now that doesn't mean leave. Okay, that doesn't mean skip this video. Okay, this means that you have all the tools, but it's still a bit of a mysterious thing. Okay, it's a bit convoluted. It's a bit like a force. You need some guidance through it. You need some help through it. And as we go through that, we will learn stuff together, and we'll figure everything out. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, let's get into it. And what better way is there to learn maths without an example? Okay, except for an example. So let's get our example. Okay, so the example I am going to do is this. Okay, so I want you to find the derivative, the antiderivative or the integral of 2x plus 6 with respect to x. Okay, before you race your horses, calm down, We'll do it together. Okay. All right. So, like I said, anti-differentiation. Okay. It is the opposite process, or it's the process that undoes the differentiation. Okay. So if we have a function like this, x to the 5, when we derive it, okay, when we find its derivative, we go and do this. Okay. Now what we did, it's important to point out that what we did is we first of all multiplied by power, okay, and then we decreased power by 1, okay. Now it is important to note that we have to do it in that particular order, okay. If you do it the other way around, you get a different answer. All right, so we do that in that order to differentiate the function. Okay, so like I said, it's the opposite. You want to undo it. So how would you approach it? You would increase the power and then divide by that new power. Okay, so let's just try it with this. You see that the power here is 1. So first of all, we go ahead and increase that power to 2. Okay, and then we divide with that new power. Sorry, I forgot to do here. Okay, so we increase the power by 2. Okay, and then we divide by that new power. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing with this 6. Now this one, a bit more tricky because you don't see an x. What do you increase the power of? Well, it's hidden in this form. Okay, there's always an x. There's no escape from them. Okay, it's x to the power of 0. Okay, anything to the power of 0 is 1. That's why you can hide it. So now, if you increase the power, so that would become x to the 1, and then divide it by 1. Okay. Now we can go ahead and simplify that. You get x squared plus 6x. Okay. And there you have it. That is your antiderivative. That is your integral. That is the process that is simply used. Okay. We just have to undo it. Okay. It's not very, very complicated. All right. It's a bit hard for now, but it'll get better. Okay. We'll find rules. It'll get simpler all over again. So I want you to realize that this derivative here, okay, this function here, is the derivative we found at the start. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. This derivative here is the function the derivative we found at the start. But here, the function was this. Okay, we derived it to get that. Shouldn't we, when we anti-derive it, get this function? Okay, if you don't see the difference is that there is no plus 2 here. Okay, shouldn't we get this because that is what we derived it from? Well, technically, yes and no. We don't have to, but yes, it is true that when you derive this, okay, when you derive this, you get this. It is true, okay? But it's also true that when you derive this, okay, when you derive this, you get this. That is also true. What's also true is when you derive this, you still get that. Okay? So, really, it doesn't matter what you have here. Okay? Every single thing that you can have here as a constant, okay? Whether it's negative 100, negative 99, positive 500, doesn't matter. Every single thing is derived to the same point, okay? To the same function, because these are all constant, they become 0 anyway, okay? To visualize it, okay, when you have the derivative, when you have a function like this, at this point, your derivative is that, okay? Now, if you have a function, so let's say you add that plus 2, it goes up by 2, okay? That's how functions work. I'm sure we all know that. Your derivative at that x value is still the same, okay? Your tangent stays the same. The slope of the tangent, stays the same. It just shifts it up by that certain amount. So it doesn't matter what you have at this. So in fact, it works for every single constant. So what we're going to do in order to capture that family of constants, you're going to go plus, And we're just going to say constant. And instead of writing the whole thing, because we are lazy, I'm going to choose a letter. What letter? C. Okay. So this literally says that x squared plus 6x plus any constant when you derive it gets you your 2x plus 6. And that is the process of anti-differentiation basically perfected. Okay? Well, not completed, but there are no missing gaps here. And really, you should be including this everywhere, but at least in the final statement. Okay? At least in the final statement, you should say plus C because it is important marks. Okay, so that is it. Now, I want you to go and practice it a lot because it is a bit confusing and it is a bit of a long process, but you get used to it. All right, and we'll start finding some rules and whatnot, and we're gonna start having more fun with this. Okay, so good luck. Do a lot of practice, and we'll meet in the next one.